there, welcome back to my channel. Thanks for watching. Today's video is going to be tips and tricks on how to become a flight attendant and how I prepared for my interview. So please keep watching. Okay, I first want to start off by saying becoming a flight attendant has been very rewarding for me. Especially because I live in New York right now and my family's from San Jose, California. It's been very rewarding but a very long process. I applied to a major airline in June of 2012. I didn't get hired until June of 2014, so that's how long it's been. So the first thing that I did was I did a lot of research on the airline that I wanted to work for. And basically what I did was I stalked this one website. I can link it below. It just basically tells you which airlines that are hiring. Wonderful website that helped me while in those 2 years that I was applying, because it told me basically which airlines were hiring, which ones weren't. And I also stalked Indeed.com because it gave me interview tips on the airline that I wanted to work for. So definitely go on that website. I'll link those two below. But like I said, number one is always do your research on the airline that you want to work. And I also wanted to let you know what it takes to become a flight attendant. You only really need 6 months of customer service and you need a high school diploma. Some airlines do require a college degree and some do require to be bilingual in a special language. It could be French, German, mostly it's Spanish, or it can be another language depending on which airline you're looking to be hired for. But definitely it's just 6 months and high school diploma. So don't be discouraged if you don't have a college degree, because you will definitely get hired. I know some people that don't have college degrees that work for major airlines. The next thing I want to talk about is your resume. Make sure your resume is up to par. Make sure your objective is geared towards that airline, and make sure it's impeccable. And also keep it short. Don't keep it too long. Don't have 2 pages. Just have 1 page. So once you've gotten all that together and you finally research the airline that you want to work for and you want to apply. So let's say you apply and you get a questionnaire from the airline that you want to apply for. Make sure the questionnaire, don't ever answer in the middle. Always answer to the far right or to the far left. So you either extremely agree or you extremely disagree. Do never put towards the middle, because it's kind of like you're indecisive. This is what I've learned years that I've been applying for any job. It could be any job, but this is what the computer actually looks for. It's either completely disagree or completely agree. So that's something that I've learned in the years, is to either answer either or. So let's say you finish the questionnaire and you pass it and you move to the next step. Most likely the next step will be to do a phone interview and a web interview. The phone interview most likely is where they ask you a couple of questions about yourself. So they'll ask if you have any visible tattoos on your wrist or in the back of your neck or wherever it's visible, etc. If you have a valid passport. So please don't lie about that, because they will ask you for the passport number. And then the web interview will be scenario-based questions, like for example, tell me a time where you had a difficult time with a crew member and how did you resolve it? What was the solution or the outcome? And tell me a time where you went above and beyond for a customer. That's my favorite. And then they'll also ask you, why do you want to become a flight attendant for that specific airline? That is one of the biggest questions they'll ask. So once you pass the questionnaire, the web interview and the phone interview, you're going to move up to the face-to-face. And from the face-to-face, that's the most important step in this process, becoming a flight attendant. That's where you're going to make your impression with all the recruiters, and sometimes they have not just recruiters there, but they have like the head of flight attendants. They have other flight attendants that are there on special assignments. But definitely, this is where you need to prepare the most, is your face-to-face. So the day of the interview, how I prepared for it was I bought a brand new suit. Now you don't have to do this. This is just something that I did. I made sure it was ironed. It was nice and neat. I made sure I had a lot of sleep. I didn't party the day before or anything. I was very well prepared and very wide awake for the interview. I didn't look tired, put together, had my hair in a bun like an actual flight attendant, something like this, something similar to this makeup. It was a little bit less makeup than I have on now, but I definitely had red lipstick. You can have neutral. Just keep it light and simple. Keep your jewelry to a minimal. You can wear pearl earrings. I don't have anything on now, but I wear pearl earrings or I wear studs, diamond studs. So it depends on what your preference is. but definitely look the part. Look like you're actually working for that airline. And that's something that how I prepared for it. And then the next thing that I did was I made like 3 or 4 copies of my resume, because you really don't know how many interviews you're going to be in. I was actually in at least 3 interviews, and then I had 1 group interview. So definitely bring several copies of your resume and bring it in a nice looking folder also, so you can look very professional. And then try to prepare like questions and scenarios that they're going to ask you. What I did was, for my previous experience, I was actually in customer service for 6 years, so I just used previous examples that I had over the 6 years that I was working as a banker. So that's what I used, so you can use that as well. And yeah, that's how I prepared. So that's pretty much it. The one thing that I want to tell you, if you are for sure willing to become a flight attendant, make sure you're willing to relocate, because that's part of the job. And make sure you're willing to work all holidays, all weekends, and you're going to be on reserve for a long time depending on which airline you work for. So don't be discouraged. Eventually you will get off reserve and you will be able to get some weekends off, but most likely you'll have to work every holiday. So be prepared for that, and be prepared to move and live in a crash pad. But at the end of the day, becoming a flight attendant, it has been very rewarding. Your flight benefits outweigh the negatives, and the first year is going to be tough, and all I can say is hang in there, and it gets better. It really gets better. Just make sure you follow those steps and you'll be fine. And I'll actually post a video coming soon on my first year as a flight attendant and what I did to overcome the obstacles that I faced. And I'll be posting that down below, so if you are a new flight attendant and you want some tips, just let me know. So yeah, those are my tips on becoming a flight attendant. If you have any questions or comments, please comment down below, or you can email me directly. That's how I became a flight attendant. And please like this or just subscribe to my channel. If you have any questions, like I said, please leave a comment down below. Ciao!